All right, if you live in Florida, you know this feeling all too well. That moment when you open your power bill and just stare at it. What is all this stuff? It's confusing, it's definitely expensive, and you know what? Today, we're gonna decode it.
I mean, seriously, doesn't it feel like it's written in some secret code? Like it's meant to be complicated, so you just give up and pay it? Well, I've got a little bit of good news and bad news for you on that front.
Okay, so the bad news is, you're not wrong. It is kind of like a code. But the good news, we're gonna crack it. Right here, right now. We're gonna translate this thing into plain English so you know exactly where every single one of your dollars is going. So, the first thing you have to get your head around is this. Your bill isn't just one charge. Nope, you're actually paying for two completely different things. Think of it like there are two separate stories being told on that one piece of paper.
And this is the perfect way to look at it. Story number one is you paying off a debt. Simple enough. Story number two, that's you funding an investment that doubles as a profit engine for the utility. So let's dive into that first story, the debt.
All right, path one, paying off debt. This part is actually pretty straightforward. It's temporary, and it's all about cleaning up the bill for past emergencies. You'll see this on your bill as the storm surcharge. It's a temporary fee, and its only job is to pay the utility back for the massive cost of getting the power back on after the 2024 hurricane season. We're talking about the damage from Hurricanes Helene, Milton, and even Tropical Storm Debbie. So what does that actually cost you? Well, if you're a typical TICO customer, using around 1,000 kilowatt hours a month, this charge adds up to $19.95 every single month. That's a real cost you can feel. Now, here's the most important thing to remember about this part. The utility makes zero profit here. None. The best way to think about it is like they had to max out a giant emergency credit card to fix everything, and now we, the customers, are just paying off that balance. It's a straight-up reimbursement. And because it's just paying off a debt, it has an expiration date. This particular charge, it's set to disappear from your bill in August of 2026. Okay, so that's story number one. Now let's get into the second story. And this is where things get, well, very different. All right, path two, funding future profits. This is where the complexity really kicks in. See, this part of your bill has nothing to do with paying off all debts. This is all about you funding the utility's future. And let's be blunt, it's future profits. So how does this work? It's a three-step process, basically. First, the utility spends a huge chunk of money, let's say $1 billion, on hardening the grid. Burying power lines, putting up stronger poles, that kind of thing. Step two, they bill all of us, the customers, to get that $1 billion back. But then, and this is the real kicker, step three, they are legally allowed to tack on a guaranteed profit for themselves, right around 10%, right on top of that spending. Yeah, there's actually a name for this kind of incentive structure. Critics call it gold plating, and it makes perfect sense, right? If you're guaranteed to make a profit on every single dollar you spend, what's your incentive? It's to spend more money, maybe even to pick the most expensive option available. And this is where things get completely upside down compared to a normal business. Think about it. Any other company, they try to cut costs to increase their profit. But for a regulated utility monopoly, it's the exact opposite. The more they spend on these huge capital projects, the more profit they're legally allowed to make. The incentive is to spend, not to save. So you might be asking, how did this whole system get locked in place? How did it become so easy for utilities to do this? Well, it didn't just happen by accident. It was all made possible by one specific law. Let's go back to 2019. A bill, Senate Bill 796, gets proposed, and it just flew through the legislature. I mean, it had huge support from both sides of the aisle. By that summer, it was signed into law. Just for the record, the key figures here were Senator Joe Gruters, who sponsored it in the Senate, Representative Randy Fine in the House, and it was Governor Ron DeSantis who signed it into law. Okay, so what did this law actually do? Essentially, it created a fast lane for these so-called storm protection plans. It made it way easier for utilities to get these expensive projects approved and then pass the cost directly to you. And this is a big deal, it also tied the hands of the state regulators, the Public Service Commission, making it harder for them to say no or even push back. Okay, so all of this brings us to the absolute heart of the matter. When you pay that bill every month, what is your real relationship with the power company? Because it's probably not what you think. You're not just a customer. In fact, some of our sources describe you as a captive investor. And when you think about it, it fits perfectly. You provide all the money, a guaranteed stream of revenue to finance everything. Every pole, every wire, you pay for it all. But you don't get any of the actual cash profits, not a dime. Those profits flow up to the utility's parent company, for Codified's Amerit Inc. up in Canada, and then out to their shareholders. So what's your return on this massive investment? Officially, your dividend is just service reliability.
There's a metaphor from one of the sources that just nails this. It's like this. You are paying the entire mortgage on the house, every single payment. But when it's all paid off, the utility gets to keep the deed. They own the house, and they get to collect the rent.
So that really leaves us with one big question, doesn't it? The whole system is set up so that your return on what is a huge and ongoing financial investment from you is service reliability. So is that a fair trade? Is just having the lights stay on a good enough dividend for you to fund the entire system? It's definitely something to think about the next time you open that bill.